tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the number one PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name's Dylan Blight. Joining me as always, Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here during this quiet week. Quiet week in video games, yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rather quiet week in video games. Not much coming out. I can say that Iron Man comes out Friday. Right, it's Friday, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. I have it now, so look forward to my review. ExplosionNetwork.com on Friday. I can't remember if I'm allowed to say the embargo times. I won't, but I can say that I have it. Better safe than sorry, I guess. So yeah, that's the only other thing. That's the only thing happening, right? There's nothing else happening this week, is there?
No.
Like legit?
No events unless somebody drops something straight after this episode is recorded, which, you know.
Probably will happen, let's be honest. At least it most likely won't be PlayStation, at least, I feel. You know, like it's not like a Sony's going to drop a state of play. And I say that now and then they will. But I highly doubt Sony's going to drop a state of play. Anyway, in the trophy cabinet this week for what we got, bronze trophy for PS Plus turning 10, silver trophy for fake news being squashed, and a gold trophy for more details on Spider-Man Miles Morales. So let's go over this PS Plus stuff first. So two sections to it. Firstly, here are the games you're getting for this month. And there's 3 games this month because it is the 10-year anniversary. So they're like, yeah, have an extra one. Enjoy. So you get NBA 2K20, Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-year celebration edition, and Erica. So out of these, obviously I don't care for NBA 2K20. I feel like that's obvious. Rise of the Tomb Raider I played earlier in the year, and you can read my, it was the first entry into my pile of shame article thing, so you can go read that if you want to hear my thoughts on that game. It's enjoyable. I like the Tomb Raiders. It was good. Hopefully I'll go play the third one later this year if I find the time or whatever. And Erica I played when it released because it was announced, and then it was announced ages ago actually, but they showed a trailer during I don't remember what event it was there. It might have been like Paris Games Week or some like randomish type thing like that, I feel, you know. Like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Paris Games Week.
Yeah.
That mega one.
Yeah, the mega one. And then late last year, and then after that they released it straight away. I played it when it dropped. I don't like the game, and I gave it a
5.5.
5.5. There you go. There's my score.
Quote, if you've never played a FMV before, Erica will probably be a lot more interesting, and maybe it's a good entry level to these type of games. But as far as I'm concerned, Erica Mason can stay in the hospital and stop bothering me to help light her damn Zippo.
Wow. I must have been angry that day. Yeah, so I don't have any fond memories of that, and I definitely remember. I couldn't remember my score, but I definitely remember being like, I'm not a fan of this game.
Yes, I definitely remember that.
Out of these, my pick would be Rise of the Tomb Raider, obviously. But do you care this NBA? Have you got this one? You gonna play this? You gonna play Erica?
I'm probably not gonna play Erica. I'm probably not gonna jump back into Rise of the Tomb Raider. I might play NBA. I already played it on. It was on Game Pass, so I played it on that for a bit. Played through the story mode, but you know, trophies.
Look, you're trying to join in the cool kids club. You're like, trophies? That's what we say, right?
That's what we say on this podcast. You know, maybe play through the story mode with a different play style and that kind of thing. Could be fun. And then I don't have to pay for Game Pass anymore. Keep playing.
Why? Was you only paying for Game Pass to play NBA?
No, I just had a voucher, so.
Oh. What is a different play style? Do you mean like you pick a different play style?
Yeah, you pick a different player, like a position, or like what he's good at and that kind of thing. Yeah.
See, I don't know.
It's got Idris Elba in it.
Cool. Yes. Why is he in it? Is he playing someone or is he playing himself?
He's a coach.
Oh, he's a coach, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the second thing they announced was that it has been 10 years since they PlayStation Plus. So they wrote, it's great to see how much PS Plus has grown over the years, starting with the very first first PS Plus game offered, Wipeout HD, to offering more than 1,000 games to PS Plus members over the last 10 years. As we walk down memory lane, we'll leave you with a quick snapshot of PS Plus from the past decade. Thank you again for all your continued support, and we look forward to celebrating with you. I don't know what the continued celebration part of this means. Like, are they going to do like what exactly are they going to offer? I don't know. But in a little graphy picture thing that they posted, which side note, you have to zoom in to be able to view it properly because you can't read it because the text is too small. And then also if you click on it and it opens the Flickstar link, which is where they uploaded and hosted the picture, it then leads to nowhere. So the only way to actually read the picture is the fucking Zoom your web browser. And that's just annoying. But so PS Plus was introduced to the world June 29th, 2010. Wipeout HD was one of the first games given to PS Plus members. June 2012, monthly games was introduced.
That's crazy that it took 2 years to introduce monthly games. What were your PS Plus players paying for? Just multiplayer.
Online? Yeah, I don't even remember. Like, I think there was discounts and whatever. Yeah, like I think they were giving. They said they'd give out random games, but I don't think it was ever like monthly committed games.
Because multiplayer was still free on PS3, right?
No, not up until. Oh, got me questioning now. Did they just completely lock it out when PS4 launched, or did they ever just like say that no, you can't play online without PS Plus now? I feel like they changed it. Like they were like, no, you have to pay for it now. I feel like I don't know if they did. Let's probably for the other things.
It'd be weird to introduce it like 3 years into the cycle.
I mean, what the place? 3 years then came out online. I don't know. It's hard for me to think about because I've been paying for PS Plus since Dot, or shortly after Dot, and so I've never really had to like. You know, like, can I play this game online? I've never had to think about it, I guess. So maybe I just didn't pay attention to any news stories. I'm sure while you try and find the answer, then they got 64 games offered during the first year of PlayStation Plus monthly games. Over 1,000 games have been offered through PS Plus globally. That's the important keyword there. Not each of us. That's globally. 41.5 million users have used PS Plus. If PS Plus was a country, it would have the 36th largest population in the world. The top 5 monthly games redeemed from PS Plus globally as of April 2020. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Sonic Forces, Shadow of the Colossus, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, 2?
Yeah, 3.
3. And Destiny 2 is the top 5 there. And I think all of those are...
in the last year, probably.
Last year, I think, yeah.
Which makes sense. More people have it. More people are redeeming it.
Yeah. And the same for top 5 online multiplayer games. Like, all within the last... Well, no, one of these is not within the last 12 months. But top 5 online multiplayer games played by PS Plus members globally. Grand Theft Auto 5, who'd have thunk that one. Rainbow Six Siege, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny 1, and then Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Yep. So Call of Duty, Destiny, it's all usual.
Shocking.
Usual. And that's your 10 years.
I mean, it's surprising that Fortnite's not one of those top 5.
I think it's because you don't need PS Plus, so it's not counting.
Don't you need PS Plus?
I'm pretty sure you don't need PS Plus for that.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure, or I'm talking about my ass, but I feel pretty confident that Fortnite. You know how sometimes there's certain games, if the developers or whatever make the rules, and pretty much Epic make their own rules. So I think you don't actually need to pay for PS Plus for that. I think it's one of those ones, one of those weirdy ones. Don't know. All right, next news story. Remember Crash Bandicoot? Remember how we said it was coming back? Maybe there's too much Crash Bandicoot now. So DualShockers write some delightful news from our managing editor, number one Crash Bandicoot fan here at DualShockers, and it's been revealed that the upcoming Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time will apparently come with over 100 levels, along with other features. Wow. Twitter user Broski, thanks to IGN, shared a GameStop email of which the images were originally sourced by someone, shared in a Discord. The email, I'm not trying to say the person's username. The email reveals some details about the upcoming game developed by Toys for Bob. Players should be able to expect the game to be arriving as an all-new sequel with over 100 levels and will also include new game modes as well as the abilities for innovative gameplay. And they shared this picture, I guess, that was part of the GameStop email thing or whatever, but it's like got 2 pictures, full on sequel, 100 levels of play, new gameplay modes, new abilities, innovative gameplay, blah, 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 blah. As noted by IGN, the 1998 classic Crash Bandicoot Warped only contained 32 levels, and that's including bosses and secrets. That's certainly quite an increase. There also seems to be additional purchases heading to Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time post-launch, as the Microsoft Store page shows the price with a plus symbol. This suggests there's a possibility of some type of microtransactions. We've seen that the last Crash game, the racing one developed by BNX, that's Crash Tag Team Racing, from Activision, include microtransactions, so it would be also surprising. Look, I, as the Crash fan,
yeah,
too many. I think that's too many. Like, and unless like a bunch of them are like 30-second a minute special type of levels, like unless the length and whatever really varies for these, and a whole bunch of them are just super short levels and that they're still counted as levels, then maybe. But 100 full-length Crash Bandicoot levels, is that something that super excites me? No. Like, not really, because I feel like you're going to run out of steam pretty quickly with the, like, there's only like 4 masks in the game or something like that. Like, I'm like, how are you stretching the 4 masks and their different abilities? And they've already shown 2. One lets you walk on walls, another one lets you stop time or whatever. I'm like, yeah, they're cool abilities and so on and so forth. But I'm like, over 100 levels, surely these 4 different abilities are going to run out of ways to use them uniquely eventually. So I don't know. That's quite odd. Unless they've remastered and snuck in the fucking old ones again into this. They're like, yeah, it's over 100 levels because they're included or some shit. I don't know. But other than that, I don't know. It's weird to say though, because I feel like if they, like if there was a trailer for Super Mario Maker and they were like, yeah, there's over 1,000 levels, over thousands of levels. Obviously for a game like that, it's like, yeah, that's great because it's like player created and that makes sense or whatever. And that's a marketing term you can use. But I think for any platforming or whatever type game, be it Mario, Crash, whatever, if someone's going to be like, yeah, there's over 100 levels, I'm going to be like, that seems like too many, like Mario has what, like how many levels per thing? Like 8. How many worlds is there? There's only like 30 something, 40 levels there, right? I think across the thing. So yeah, 100, fuck off, get the hell out of here. Do you have any thoughts on this?
It seems a lot, but I mean, it kind of justifies apparently it's going to be a full price game, so going to be a lot of jumping and running towards the screen and
yeah, not to bring up the hot take argument that's happening on the internet about game length time, but is this not one of those things where people always like to be like, oh, bang for buck type situation? Like, yeah, 100 as you just said, 100 levels, it makes it worth the money, but I would rather pay 100 whatever full price for just a quality 8-hour experience, not a overstretched 12 to 30 hour experience.
Maybe they're over exaggerating it. Maybe you play the levels in reverse and that like doubles it.
That could be a thing.
Or it could be 100 levels of difficulty. Like,
well, there's 2 difficulties, so I guess if they want to count each difficulty as a separate level,
yeah,
maybe that's the thing.
When you play them all in reverse, it's 25 levels, easy.
Yeah, there you go. We've solved it, everyone. No need to argue about it. As for the microtransactions, skins. Yep, that's exactly what I thought straight away as well. I like skins. Maybe they do the sneaky thing like they did with Team Racing and they add in like bullshit. I swear, I hope they don't do it, but it's fucking Activision, so who knows? But it's like, pay $4 to get more lives, like some fucking trash like that type thing. But really? I don't know. But I would presume it's just going to be skins. Presumably.
Yeah.
That's what it'll be. Which is whatever. You don't have to buy them. You can buy them. I don't know. But if it's skins, I don't care. I would prefer that you could just unlock the skins in the game. What a concept. What a novel, out of this world concept. I know it's crazy, right? But that's probably the way I'd prefer to get my skins in my video games. But Because the difference, in case you're like, yeah, but Dylan, I hear you on other shows say how, League of Legends skins and all these other things, they're fine. I'm like, yeah, but they're free to play, and their money's these free to play games are usually designed the way they make money's off selling skins. Whereas I feel like a full price video game, and then it's making you pay for your skins, it's not at all the same. It's
I don't know. Maybe it's DLC. You get to play the levels upside down.
I don't know.
Whole another 50 levels.
No, I don't want it. Let's talking about Naughty Dog. Kind of.
Will we?
Yeah. Well, Crash Bandicoot was made by Naughty Dog, not the new one, but
it's a very, very large stretch.
Yeah. No, not really. I mean, they created it's why they're called Naughty Dog, because it's Crash Bandicoot. Naughty Dog production.
He's a Naughty Dog.
Yeah, remember?
He's a Bandicoot. Not a Naughty Dog.
Yeah. Don't you know? Do you remember? Back in the day. So VG247 writes 2014 report of Amy Henig being forced out of Naughty Dog was nothing but false gossip. New information has come to light that an IGN report from 2014 stating Amy Henig was forced out of Naughty Dog by Neil Druckman and Bruce Straley was nothing but an unsubstantial rumor. The report from 2014 said that trusted sources close to Naughty Dog stated Henig was forced out by The Last of Us creative leads Neil Druckman and Bruce Straley. A couple of days later, the report was refuted by Naughty Dog. According to Mitch Dyer, who previously worked for IGN and wrote the article in question, states he was forced by the site's editors at the time, Steve Butts and Tel Blevins, to include forced gossip in the report. Whether or not there was any internal conflict at Naughty Dog isn't confirmed, but this particular story was unsubstantiated. Dyer even states that when the article was condemned by Sony, the editors were silent and never offered to go to the bat when he came under fire for the report. The editors have since left IGN and have their own consulting firm. Dyer now writes at EA's Motive, where he's working on Star Wars Squadron. So I remember this story. I remember it being a huge deal, obviously, saying that, and it was also one of the reasons that a lot of people went to war over Neil and Bruce, like, because a lot of people were like doing the whole picking the side thing, and a lot of people were like doing the whole, we're on Amy's side, fuck you, fuck Naughty Dog, you kicked her out, blah, 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 blah. Remember that they did put out that press release at the time. It was like, this is a bunch of bullshit. No one believed it because IGN had put up the story, and the way it was written at the time made it sound like it was, like, we've got several sources, this is legit, this is a real thing. It was written by Mitch Dyer. Mitch Dyer's name was on it, and at the time no one had any reason to not believe Mitch, because Mitch's stuff was always like, IGN, Mitch Dyer, like, seems like a trusted source. This seems like a trusted article. So I think a lot of people, myself included, believed it for the most part. I mean, I remember up until this point, if you'd asked me about that story, I would have been like, yeah, like maybe it wasn't as hot as the article made it out to be, but obviously there was some conflict there. I don't know, like, who am I to judge? Like, that's probably how I would have thought about the scenario. I'm like, they all seem cool now, I guess. I don't know, they're all doing their own things or whatever, so and we still don't know, as the article points out, like, we still don't know exactly why Amy Hennig left, but at the same time it's like, do we need to know? No, it's none of our business, really. Like, she doesn't have to Neil, Bruce, Naughty Dog in general, like, none of them owe the public to explain why someone leaves a game studio simply because the person that left is of such a high caliber type thing. It's like, people leave game studios all the time. No one's going to arms over Spooky Lady, whose name
Akumi Nakamura.
That's it. No one's going to arms over her leaving Bethesda like 2 months after E3 or whatever it was, after she was announced as the big lead on that project. No one's going to chasing after Tango Gameworks and going, why the fuck? Because she doesn't have the high caliber, and neither does that studio to piss people off, much like the Naughty Dog thing. But either way, it's a super interesting story, and I think it obviously paints, among other things that Mitch said, it definitely paints Steve Butts and Tel Blevins as dicks, yeah. I mean,
on top of all the other stuff they've been accused of in the last week, can't see the consultancy firm getting any work from anyone in the video game industry anytime soon. You
wouldn't think so. Well, you wouldn't hope so. We'd hope not. That's for sure. Because not to go into all the other stuff, but it's like, on top of all this stuff, just the the way they acted in certain things, it's like, oh my god, what a time at IGN this sounds like fucking horrible people in charge of the situation at the time. But Mitch, I also found it interesting, like in Mitch's Twitter thread, he also points out, he's like, these are the guys who later would publish a story on IGN stating The Last Guardian is cancelled. When we confronted them about publishing an unsubstantiated, hilarious bullshit story about consulting the news team, they said, quote, "You should have chased this." It's like, what? And then Neil Druckman did quite retweet Mitch's tweet saying, "Wow, dude, not gonna lie, I was angry for a long time about this. I appreciate you putting the truth out there. Please know I don't hold a grudge and wish you the best. Sorry for what you went through." So yeah, I guess the moral of the story is that everyone who likes to shoot on IGN, you can like one for your team to score, I guess. You know, like everyone's like, fucking IGN, fucking bullshit, blah 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 blah. This is definitely somewhat unfortunately, it's like this story coming out now, painting IGN in a horrible light, is coming out at the not the best time, because it's now painting IGN in a horrible light when none of them people that are involved in making this decision or writing the story even, or, you know, even sitting next to people writing and making these decisions, none of them are at the company anymore. Like, none of these people are at IGN. Mitch isn't there. Not that he deserves to have any shit put on him, but just for the sake of pointing out the facts. But Mitch isn't there. Tal isn't there. Steve Butts isn't there. The editor at the time isn't there. That's also talked about in a lot of these articles. None of these people there, but everyone on Twitter and in the comment sections, as you know, took the flame to IGN's ass when it's like, well, look, none of these people are involved anymore. You can, if you want to pick an issue of IGN, it can't be over this one. It should be over something else.
Yep.
Right.
At least Neil Druckman's got one less thing off his plate for people to be angry with him about.
Yeah. Now, still, side note, not to go into spoilers about The Last of Us, but there's a thing in The Last of Us. I'm not going to say it because it's like a spoiler again, but there's the main thing that people keep rumor milling about him doing in that game, like filming a certain scene in mocap suit for whatever reason. I don't know how this rumor got started, but it got shut down, I thought, pretty easily. Like, I feel like Laura Bailey like shut this rumor down pretty fast. It started up again now, but instead they're now making out that he done a different character's mocap completely, and I'm like, this isn't anything. That they just get these weirdos on the internet that are obsessed with Neil Druckmann.
They just want to see Neil Druckmann in a mocap suit. It's weird.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I mean, keep your kinks to yourself.
Keep your kinks to yourself. Yeah, there you go. This is one to take home with you. Talking about Last of Us, PlayStation Lifestyle writes, The Last of Us Part 2 DLC isn't happening, according to Neil Druckmann. So he says there's no plans for DLC, as the news comes from Kind of Funny's Last of Us Part 2 spoilercast, where Greg Miller was joined by Druckman, Ashley Johnson, and Troy Baker to talk at length about the game's story. Miller asks about the DLC for The Last of Us Part 2, referencing the first game's Left Behind expansion, which explored Ellie's backstory. He said, quote, with The Last of Us, I think we had some season pass or something that we said ahead of time would we have some story DLC. There's no plans for DLC for this one. That means that any continuation of The Last of Us's bleak post-apocalyptic world would now need to be explored through other means, such as comics, HBO show, or even separate multiplayer component. That'll be coming at a later date. Naughty Dog is still remaining silent regarding details on multiplayer, but has said that it's still working on it, and it will be entirely separate from The Last of Us Part 2. And then when he's asked about the sequel in 1,000,001 interviews over the past week, because of course he's been doing a bunch of interviews, he's pretty much given the same answer I've seen everywhere, which is that he doesn't have an idea for it at the moment. He won't say yes, he won't say no, type thing. And obviously, if you've listened to our spoiler cast, you know that I'm open to a sequel. So, but I wouldn't expect to see it for another fucking 10 years. I don't know. I'll be fucking Neil Druckmann will be 78 by the time he makes that game, I feel. As for no DLC, I wouldn't expect it, because you could not do DLC set after the game, because it's like that just ruins the ending, much like doing DLC set after the original Last of Us would have ruined that ending. And at the same time, any possible Left Behind-ish type DLC I could see fitting into this game, none of it, whenever I thought about it, was like, that doesn't seem super interesting. Like I'm like, oh, you see this character from this angle, while this is happening in the game, or like flashback to this or something like that. And even if they did a Left Behind type DLC where they flash back to something that happened in the 5 years between the two games, I'm like, no, like I don't feel like any of that's going to be super interesting because, like, mild spoilers at this, it's like the game's been out a week. For people who care about mild spoilers, you played at this point, but it's like spoilers. There's a couple times in the game we have flashback sequences. Spoilers. Yeah, not crazy. But yeah, you have these slight flashback sequences to that time period in the 5 years in between. So it's like, I feel like they've shown moments to build and show you what happened in that time. So it's like, if they did DLC set in that time period again, it's like unnecessary. Like you've done it. You've built the emotional scenes between Joel and Ellie for how their relationship was in that time period. So it's like, I don't need to see anything flashback to then. So yeah, I'm okay with it. And as to the thing they mentioned about the multiplayer, that I think would be interesting. And that's something I remember bringing up when I talked to Buddy Watson, of course, from Radio Watson, when we did our Last of Us multiplayer discussion thing. Like, as much as the Last of Us multiplayer is cool, the original Last of Us multiplayer is cool, and he plays like these two factions in that, it's like they never really did anything in that to involve any type of storytelling within the multiplayer, even though you've got these two different factions. I think if we're presuming, and I think it's pretty easy to presume, that you'll be playing as both the factions in the new multiplayer, so the what the fuck is it called? WHF? WLF, yeah, Wolves, and the Scars, right?
Seraphites.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're playing as
don't worry, Abby doesn't know how to say any of this. So.
Yeah, it's fine. If you play as one of both side, then there's heaps of interesting things for both of those factions, and I think it would be a wasted opportunity for them not to explore much more interesting storytelling within the multiplayer, that through a mode like they did in the original one, where it's like you're playing a story while you're playing the game, or through even just including diary entry type things, cinematic stuff that you can choose to watch or not watch. It's up to you.
Have notes through all the levels that you play through, so you can stop and read the note and then get shot in the head. Yeah,
exactly. That's the way I like
to
read. Or
you can collect them and read them later, I guess.
Yeah, I was about to say. Let's add an option for people who would like to not lose the match horribly. But yeah, there's definitely opportunities for interesting stuff there.
Listen, I got a pitch for DLC. Yeah. Right? A walking simulator like game with Joel prior to the events of the game. Just a day in Jackson.
So,
yep.
Joel wakes up, makes his coffee, does some wood carving.
Find out how he gets the coffee. That's what I want to know.
Well, they did say they cut a romantic interest for Joel in this, because they were like, and you can read. I don't think it's a spoiler to say what would have happened to her, because obviously it got cut from the game. But and they've said they're not doing DLC, so it's like, what am I spoiling at this stage? But they explained in some interview or whatever type thing, but they had originally had a mission. Hey, in a podcast, I don't remember, but they all fucking blend together at this stage. They originally had Joel's romantic interest, and you would do a mission where you had to go visit a house because she lived outside Jackson or something like that.
She lived near the power generator or whatever.
Yeah. And then when you got there, her house is surrounded by infected, and then by the time you fight them all off as Ellie, and then you get inside, she's been bitten, and then Joel stays behind to be with her or whatever, and then it said it ended with like Ellie walking away from the house, and she hears a gunshot go off, and it's like, obviously either she chose to kill herself, or Joel helped her kill her, and you'd never know, because it's like, well, that's just the dark fucked up world of the Last of Us. Yeah. So it's like, that's interesting, but rightfully they cut it, because they were like, we have no other time to build this character, so it just seems kind of cheap to introduce Joel's romantic interest just to have her die. Like, seems pointless. So yeah, as much as I think the game could have done with some more editing, that was a good deleted scene.
But no, I want Joel walking around having fights with the little kids, everything, go on a patrol.
I mean,
That's it. Then he goes to bed. That's it.
Let's make this a VR game. The Last of Us VR. It's just a wholesome simulator where Joel plays snowball
with no
fights
clickers. Like everybody's expecting him to show up, but they never do.
No, it's just walking around Jackson having a good time. It's literally just The Last of Us wholesome content that everyone wants. It's a game everyone actually wants. There's a game everyone can pretend is actually The Last of Us Part 2 that hates The Last of Us Part 2. They can just pretend this Last of Us VR game is actually it.
Yeah.
It ends with...
And it takes place like the day before the events of The Last of Us Part 2.
No, it can't because some stuff... Well, maybe. All right, let's move on. Spider-Man Miles Morales details. So, PlayStation blog put up some more stuff about this. The key takeaways are we now know that the game is set a year after Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, the first one. I was like, what is the subtitle for that game? It doesn't have one. And then they also said some other things like the game's going to include near instant loading, ray tracing, 3D audio, and DualSense controller. I assume it means features, but it's, just, it's literally written. It's like, and DualSense controller. Show off. Demonstrate the power of the DualSense controller. They've upgraded their characters to include 4D scans and improved skin shading for more realistic looking characters and spline-based hair that moves far more naturally. Many of the city's assets have also been updated to take advantage of the new console. As you experience Miles' story, you'll see, hear, and feel things in a new way, all thanks to the PS5. So, because it said a year after, I went and looked up last night after reading this. I was like, how did that DLC end again? I was like, oh, that's right. So the DLC ends with, because I remember we talked about it like the end of last year, whatever. I think we just talked about it with like mild spoilers or whatever, maybe, but something like that. But yeah. I feel like at this stage, it's like, hey, if you haven't played Spider-Man DLC and Miles Morales is coming out in a couple months or whatever, presumably, we're going to talk about the DLC. Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man spoilers are now not a thing. They're just open on this podcast. And also the DLC. That's what I'm saying right now. Both of those things, because if we're going to talk about this game, gotta have to talk about spoilers. Sorry. You know, these are probably just going to be mild spoilers, but it doesn't matter. But
so stop this podcast, play Marvel Spider-Man, play the City Never Sleeps DLC, and come back.
There, got them.
And then thank us for making you do it.
The DLC ends with Peter Parker beginning to train Miles. And I remember at the time thinking, wow, this DLC is crazy because they start teasing this in the DLC. And people who go play Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Miles is suddenly being trained up, man, that's going to be crazy. Little did I, now looking back retrospectively, it's like they put him in starting to get trained because they were working on this fucking game. Not because of anything to do with Marvel Spider-Man 2, but I mean, I guess it's somewhat related. Yes. So it's like for people who don't play the DLC and they start playing this, I guess they'll just have to presume that Peter started training him at some stage. But if you played the DLC, you know exactly when he started training him, you know? That's the key takeaway there. So that means it's not like this is a year after, but it's not a year later and Miles is just starting to get used to his powers. It's a year later and we're presuming that Peter's been training him for a year, or at least long enough that he's got used to his powers. So that's why when we play this game, Miles is already like, you know, like we're not playing Into the Spider-Verse, Miles breaking the glass because he's too scared as he jumps off the window. We're playing Miles is well adapt to his Spider-Man shit at this point, you know, in this game, which is good. And I feel like maybe that's a thing, unless they explain it, then when this comes out, people may be like, when the fuck, how the fuck? And it's like, well, if he started to get trained at the end of the DLC, he's been trained for 12 months. We got this shit. Then I have other questions, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I highly doubt they'll touch on any of this in this spin-off thing. But at the end of the DLC, Mary Jane also leaves for a fictional country, I believe it was. Somewhere was having a civil war.
No, that's
wasn't like
I can't remember. No, Markovia is DC. I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's a fictional like place in the universe, mate.
Yeah.
But it was but Mary Jane leaves to cover a civil war that's happening somewhere. And Peter's like, all right, you got to do what you got to do. And then the other key thing that happens at the end of the DLC that I really don't think is going to get touched in this because it's not really relevant is what's her name? His police officer friend.
Yuri.
Yeah. So she goes full Punisher mode.
Simcaria, I think is how you pronounce it. Simcaria.
Is it a real place or no?
No.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think it was. So yeah, so Mary Jane heads to Simcaria to cover a civil war that's happening there. So she's not going to be in the city. Peter begins training Miles at the end of DLC. Yuri turns full Punisher and says that she's going to do what the law won't do, and she's just begun straight up killing people. So now her and Peter are kind of on, or her and Spider-Man specifically are on sort of weird terms at the end of the DLC. So
that would be an interesting take.
What?
If Yuri becomes that actually that is a weird story now.
Yeah.
In the current landscape.
In the current world, yeah.
I was going to say, it'd be interesting if they make her the female Punisher, but that's even more awkward. And possibly playing into the current events even more.
Well, not to go too deep into it, but the interesting thing of the Punisher is that even the Punisher's creators and comic writers keep telling the cops to stop like using the Punisher as their like symbol, because they're like, we don't actually condone like,
yeah,
you know, like him. As it's like it's a fictional character. Just because we're writing it doesn't mean we condone it. So what do you think we actually see in this game that's related to Peter stuff? Do we think we see Peter at all? They said that they're pretty much hinting at the fact that you won't see him at all in this game. But do you think you see him at all? Full stop. Do you think we hear him even on the mobile phone? Anything like that? And then do you see?
Yeah, I suspect we'll hear Peter. I don't think we'll see him much. Maybe like a few cutscenes and that kind of thing, but I think it'll mostly be Miles' story. Yeah. But in the same way, Miles, you featured Miles in the DLC. It was pretty much just phone calls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he needs somebody to bounce off. He doesn't have a Mary Jane or Yuri equivalent.
Yeah, that's my question. Like, are they going to introduce someone though? You know?
Probably. I would imagine so.
Or I haven't read enough Miles comics to know who his
oh well, I was going to say, you know, there's another person, but no, she didn't. That person didn't survive the first game. Like, yeah, there's. I guess he's got his mother she can talk to, but that's about.
That's true, I guess.
It. Yeah,
I presume they're going to introduce someone shortly.
Surely, I haven't read enough Miles Morales comics to know his social network.
Yeah, his social network. Yeah, that's why to go for it. And do you reckon because I would say like I feel like the Mary Jane Civil War stuff, covering the Civil War or whatever, I don't know if that's just a random storyline or setting a chess piece up for a sequel type thing, at which case it would be interesting, like if they have to at least say something in this game about it, even if it's only just like random Easter egg you can find information about it, because it's like, okay, so it's a year later, is the fictional Civil War still ongoing? And if it is, then it would be cool to like walk past a TV or something and Mary Jane's like on TV as a reporter or some shit, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know, something like that to explain where all the characters are, because I feel like for people who care and for people who've played the DLC like us and are like, where are these characters at now? It's like, you're going to move the timeline forward a year and then not explain what Mary Jane and Peter's relationship is like at this stage. And I know it's not their game and it's not important. However, it's still going to be like, it's 12 months later. You're gonna just gonna leave me hanging? Like, is she okay? Is she dead? Did she die while covering the Civil War? Like, what's the go here? Explain to me. And then it's like, okay, Yuri, am I going to hear stuff about a vigilante
and that kind of thing? Yeah,
yeah, like, yeah.
I mean, they've got it. They're obviously using the whole entire. From what it sounds like, they're using the entire map. So
yeah,
I assume again it'll be like kind of a collectathon. There'll be a bunch of things for you to collect and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's where they can put this stuff in.
They can put the small tiny beats all over the place. Give a small J. Jonah Jameson's Daily Bugle podcast.
Yeah.
I hope he likes the new Super Spider-Man, but doesn't like the old one.
I hope there's a joke about him shitting on Donald Trump in the game, because if you know J. Jonah Crazy Jameson is against Trump, that's like the ultimate disapproval.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Like,
explain some of the things.
Just because he's competitive, not because he actually disagrees with his views.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably. It's like, I could be doing a better job than the president.
Yeah. Well, I hope they've got all that in it. And yeah, because it is like, it's Miles' game, and I do want to see like a cool, interesting story that's focused on Miles. But if they can just quickly little Easter eggy type things in the side missions for these couple things, just to continue teasing along towards the sequel, that would be great. I don't need like full cutscenes or anything like that. Just as I'm saying, just even a new story, something like that would be obviously quite cool.
Only two other things I need. I saw someone write on Twitter that they should have more of a hip hop influenced soundtrack rather than a more orchestral one from the main Spider-Man. That'd be cool. And give me that Into the Spider-Verse skin, please. The costume.
They will surely. There's no way they don't, right?
They have to.
Yeah. That'd be ridiculous if they don't at this stage. Absolutely ridiculous. Considering all the skins they made for the first one, it would be nonsense if they don't.
Give me all of them. Give me the Spider-Man suit with the cape.
Man, I feel like
the Superman. The like ill-fitting one that he buys off Stan Lee.
Yeah. The soundtrack thing's interesting though. That would be cool if they did that. I'm down for that. That's a cool idea. I wonder if they will, or if that's like too much effort or something like that. I don't know, because that would be a nice twist to help it stand out. That's for sure. All right. So last news story, just to go over. There's a million and one of these things that keep fucking PS5 patents that come up. I swear there's like one or two new ones every week. I've stopped bringing them all up because half of them I can be like, that's not actually a thing. This one I think would be a thing, and it's something I'd be down for though. So Push Square writes, you may be able to set up multiple screens of the PlayStation 5, allowing you to play a game while watching a streamer, or potentially even follow a YouTube guide. A new patent published by Sony Interactive Entertainment reveals a concept whereby overlays could be placed on top of gameplay, or alternatively off to the side. In the diagrams, the Japanese giant demonstrates how you want to lay out a small video feed over your main screen. Other examples include showing a stream offset to the left with comments published beneath it. This could all tie into the PlayStation Assistant rumor, which has been swirling around for a while, which points to some kind of Alexa-style aid being incorporated into the PS5's user interface. Sony's not said much about its next-gen operating system just yet, other than its lightning fast and the complete overhaul of the concepts introduced in the PlayStation 4 with all new features. So yeah, looking at the pictures in the article, like the ones that posted up for it, it's pretty self-explanatory kind of. Like, it's like you're playing a game, you can watch a video off the side and look at hints or whatever else. I think this is super cool. I think this would let me boil down the main reason. Ash, pretend you care about trophies for a moment, right? Just pretend.
Oh man, trophies, they're so great.
Thank you.
They're the only thing that matters.
You are a fucking method actor. That is for sure.
Plats or nothing.
Plats or nothing. Hashtag plats or nothing. Now imagine, as a big trophy hunter, you're playing a game where you got to follow up a collectible guide. Now, you know how this works in real life because you've done it millions of times before as an avid trophy collector. And
hold my phone up next to my controller. Yeah. I've got one of those little controller things that I can put my phone on top of so I can read.
Yeah, but you still have to like pause and play and like, you know.
No, because I'm so good at trophy. I've adapted.
Maybe okay, you're more skilled than I, but I have to like pause and play these fucking videos so I can follow these trophy guides to find collectibles and stuff. It gets a bit tedious, you know. It's not what I want to do with my time anymore. So the idea of being able to have that video on the screen as I'm playing the game, and then I presume be able to press the shortcut key to pause and play it on the go while I'm playing the game, that is game changing shit. And I'm sure that's not what everyone's thinking about when they're looking at this shit, and they're like, yeah, I could watch like Let's Plays of the game, or like, I don't know, like tips and tricks or just general walkthroughs. Yeah, that all sounds great, but I'm all about this trophy, helpful and trophy lifestyle stuff. Yeah, that's what I think about when I say this. What do you think? Would you get any help out of these sorts of features? Would it be something you even would ever use, you think?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think what scenarios.
Well, how about like
I mean,
you want to play like FIFA or some shit that you don't need sound for, and you can watch like a YouTube video on the side.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be nice. I can watch something. That would be something I would actually use.
Yeah, there you go. I found the answer.
Or, I mean, the only other thing would be if you're like a multiplayer game, you could possibly like stream one of your teammates' footage
on the side,
so you have an idea of where they are and that kind of thing.
Or of the people in your game that are not your opponents, so you can see where they are.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know. Yeah,
you start googling people's names, usernames, see if they're streaming.
Yeah,
because everyone streams these days, so it's like, what are you motherfuckers?
So it's a screen cheating. Yeah,
screen cheating. Damn right.
Future.
I think this could be a helpful feature, and I think this also, as they point out in the article, would tie in well to that the PlayStation Assistant thing, that the rumor that's been around for, I feel like 6 months ago or something like that at this stage. When did they write the article for it? September 2019. Longer than 6 months. There you go. So there you go. Which, in case you don't remember, I'll just reread that again because fuck it, I've opened it now. Pushka also wrote, what if the next time you're stuck in a game, you could ask for help? That's something that Sony appears to be planning, as it submitted a patent for a smartphone application named PlayStation Assistant, which would effectively function like Alexa for PlayStation 4 games. PlayStation 5 now. The examples shown include Horizon Zero Dawn, where you can ask the game for nearby health replenishing items, and these would be then marked on the in-game map. There's also a Skyrim-related example where the assistant explains how to obtain certain loot. It seems like this a sound idea, but it's worth remembering that patents aren't always representative of in-development projects, blah, 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 blah. I actually think this is legit. I always thought that sounded like a legit thing, because it sounded like a, because you know, sometimes these patents, you're like, that sounds like something that's cool that like 10 people would use. Whereas I feel like this thing sounds like something that's actually cool and maybe not everyone would use, but it would also be super helpful for many people. And even if you're like, yeah, I don't need any help with my video games, I'm a hardcore gamer, it's like, okay, but all the people that may need that, so that sounds like a cool thing. This could potentially tie into it. Who knows?
Yep.
All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of Platinum Explosion. You can follow us all on Twitter by heading to explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. Suggest topics or sending questions for the show by emailing mail at explosionnetwork.com with the subject line Platinum Explosion. Until next week, I want you to remember that, what'd you say before? Hashtag...
Plats or nothing.
Plats or nothing. Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.